stress is that one of the excuses, one of the reasons put down by the United Nations, by the United States for the invasion of Iraq is the democracy, liberty, and security in Iraq. Well, after the invasion, I am sorry to say we have lost all these things, although we had some minimum percentage of them before that, but we had them. After the invasion, immediately we have lost security, law and order, and the safety of any person, organization, building, or institution at that time. It was clear right from the beginning that the invasion was directed to destroy the Iraqi state rather than liberate it. We people living in Iraq, we have witnessed the way the invaders behaved towards scientific institutions, for example. Most of them were either looted under the eyes of the invading forces, and the rest were made either camps for the invading forces or headquarters for the newcomers who came with the invasions. They took them as headquarters. Some of the buildings are still like that. Immediately after the invasion, few days after the invasion, a wave of assassination started against the scientists of Iraq. It began by targeting the scientists who worked in the military industry and in the atomic energy programs, and then it was increased to attain all scientists in Iraq in all fields of study or of knowledge. I myself lost not less than 7 of my best friends for no reason but that they were scientists studying, teaching in the universities of Iraq. And they were killed for no reason but for that. This wave of assassination was continued and still continuing. If you follow the news of Iraq, you could find that until recently, some Iraqi scientists were assassinated in cold blood. The interesting thing is that after almost 9 years of the invasion, not a single case of assassination was investigated by the government. Not a single man responsible for the assassination of these people was put to trial or sentenced for his crime. Of course, this was the first phenomenon. The second harmful decision was the laws issued by the occupying forces. And the most notorious law was the de-Baathification law. Of course, when you hear the word de-Baathification in English, it's a mild, nice word to hear. But in Arabic, they used another word, very aggressive. It was ijtithāth, which meant uprooting of the Baathists. And uprooting allowed everybody to take action by killing whoever was accused of being a Baathist. This decision not only emptied some of the universities and colleges from the best and most able people, scientists, teaching at these universities, but also it entered the country because a lot of people who were accused of being Ba'athists, who were uprooted or sacked from their jobs. De-Ba'athification, by the way, meant sacking whoever was a Ba'athist from his job. They said it was only directed against the higher echelon of the Ba'ath party, but in fact it touched every Ba'athist at that time. And if you remember, or if we remember, that at the time of the invasion, the Ba'ath party had about 1,250,000 members. You could imagine the number of people affected by this. I mean, this decision of de-Ba'athification, in one decision, sacked more than 3,000 members of the Iraqi university from their jobs. Then came the wave of forcing people to migrate from their areas because of the sectarian division created by the occupiers. They divided the country according to the laws and regulations they put into Sunnis, Shi'is, Kurds, Christians, Muslims, Turkomans, and not only that, they started to build concrete walls around the areas they thought that they were segregated. So a Sunni living in a Shi'i-dominated area had to leave his house. A Shi'i living in a Sunni-dominated area has to leave his house, and so on and so forth. So people were moved from the areas where they lived all their life, either into another area in Iraq, or they left Iraq altogether. The number of people, of scientists, assassinated, officially mentioned by the Ministry of Higher Education, is over 265. According to the Brussels Tribunal, is over 400 people, and of course the list is not complete. The number of people who migrated from their places are in thousands. If you know that a country like Iraq, which is in bad need of medical doctors, has lost over 3,000 medical doctors who migrated outside Iraq, you can see and understand the catastrophic effect of this invasion. And again, nothing was done then to stop this migration. Then came the wave of demolishing, as I said, and misusing of the higher education institution. I can give you an example. For months after the invasion, we used to go to the University of Baghdad, which was divided into two parts. One part as a military camp for the Americans, and seeing the American soldiers going through the university campuses as they liked, and the second part was our colleges and institutions. And this continued, of course, for a long time. The second part was demolishing institutes. For example, in one case I could give you as an example, there was a very big military camp near Baghdad called Al-Rashid camp. And this camp included a very advanced hospital called Al-Rashid Military Hospital, which was very well equipped and very advanced in its equipment and people who are working with them. The Americans decided to demolish the military camp altogether, and they also demolished the hospital with it, with all its equipment and all its facilities, without any consideration for the Iraqi need for hospitals. And of course, this was done after leaving the camp without any protection for weeks, allowing people to loot whatever armaments and equipment were in the military camp. I mean, for us living in Baghdad, for example, we used to see for months pistols, machine guns, hand grenade, and even anti-aircraft guns sold on the pavement of the streets of Baghdad city, and the American soldiers going around laughing at the issue. They did not take any action against such a phenomenon until some of their soldiers started to be targeted by the resistance. Another harmful effect was the appointment of junior American officers to head the Iraqi university and the Iraqi higher education system. The minister, between two brackets, he was not a minister, but he was acting as minister, was, I think, captain or a major, and another captain was the head of the University of Baghdad, who took the liberty of coming to the University of Baghdad and giving advice to us academics. In another word, the very traditional University of Baghdad, with all the brains it has and still has, with all the efficiency it had, could not direct itself, and the Americans could not find a single Iraqi brain to head the Iraqi University of Baghdad. They appointed American junior officer to direct or to administrate this university. And then this was followed by attempts by these officers to interfere in the curriculum. They started to tell us what to teach and what not to teach, what to say and what not to say. Of course, at this stage, we took a very hard position and refused all their instructions and continued to teach as we have liked. So this is actually the situation in the University of Baghdad. I can give you an example of my college, as I was one of the last people who left my university. At the time of the invasion, there were more than 12 professors in political science, or I think they were 13 at that time. All of us are graduates of international universities, British, American, French, and some socialist countries graduates, okay? When I left the college, there was nobody but one who was left working, and this one has retired as well. The rest were either intimidated or threatened or decided to disappear from public life. Now, the university is working with junior people, whom I recommend for their good doing, I should say, but they are juniors and mostly graduate of Iraqi universities. They have the ability to teach, but in Arabic they have no ability to consult any foreign resources. Of course, this situation was also very harmful to the system of higher education. And last but not least was the appointment of a gentleman who is, well, some people say he lacks any academic knowledge. He does not have a proper certificate as a graduate of one of the universities. he published on his site a certificate in I think in psychology, but the people doubted this, and they have proof of that, which people put in this book as well, that he was graduated from the university at the age of 16 or 17, which is 19, which is something impossible. You graduate at the age of 21, 22 from the university according to the Iraqi system. This gentleman, who belongs to one of the sectarian ruling parties, has taken decisions since he came to his position to empty university from the rest of the abilities of the educated, of the well-known members of the teaching staff, by sacking them on the pretext that they were all Ba'athists. And if you are familiar with the Iraqi state, with the Iraqi situation, you would have heard about his decision to sack more than 120 members of the University of Tikrit, Salahuddin, on the pretext that they were Ba'athists, without any justification, without any reason for doing that, throwing them in the street just like that. This was his last decision. Now, some people would say that the situation has improved after the invasion. Iraqi students have the liberty to study, to say what they want. Well, to that I should say they are mistaken. The liberty they are speaking about is no more than chaos in the Iraqi universities. Most of the universities have turned to be headquarters, between two brackets, to the influential parties that dominates the place where the university is situated. For years in the Baghdad University campus, we used to see sectarian religious activities more than any scientific conferences or scientific activities. It became religious headquarters, religious centers rather than scientific centers, and all these religious activities are taking place in the campus itself and prevents education and teaching. The many sectarian holidays we used to have in the university prevented people from coming to the colleges, and of course with this deteriorating security conditions, the number of dropouts rise to a very alarming percentage.